What is up, Grizz Nation? The Grizzlies won. You know what that means. Daniel isn't on the show tonight. It is a family tradition at this point. The Grizzlies get the victory. Daniel's not coming to the show. Now, you might see a couple of weird things tonight. One, my camera freezing from time to time. That's going to happen. Two, a bit of a different background here in the back. That's because I just moved, which means I don't know what my internet's doing. I barely know what I'm doing, but I know what the Grizz are doing. They are winning against the Washington Wizards. Grizzlies win 108-97. They finally get another victory, which is why tonight it's brought to us by, just like Grizzlies wins are rare, Eagle Rare. We're bringing out the nice stuff for us tonight, guys. So Grizz get the win, 109-97. We're going to talk about that some tonight. We're going to talk about some roster guys tonight. We'll see how the internet holds up. It might be a short show. It might be a long show. We're going to end up seeing what happens. But per usual, I'm not going to be in here by myself. We'll get somebody in here whose camera actually works. So without further ado, bringing back my brother from another mother in Christ, Kenny Stubblefield. Kenny.
What's up, man? What's up, man? You good?
I don't know. My face is going to get frozen in weird positions.
Yeah. Just try really hard to not make really awkward facial expressions today because it might get cut. It might get images and GIFs might be thrown on top of it. We might have some viral moments with your face when it freezes.
Listen, everything about me is awkward. And the camera is only going to make it even more fitting. And as Wayne's saying, have you unpacked yet? The answer is a crisp maybe. No, we've got a few things that are unpacked, but as you can see in the background, things are sort of just laying wherever they are. So that's going to be
like the fact. Can I just say one thing about your setup? You just moved in, and it's you got boxes and everything still ready to be unpacked, but you have very clearly put up some mood lighting in the back there that I think is
always
like hella dope, like green and purples, and it's changing colors. I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's some freaky deaky kind of stuff going on in the Qualls home.
Listen, you think freaky deaky stuff's going on in this room? It's the only room where things like that are happening. My wife's very pregnant, so not much freaky deaky things are happening outside of this room. But I figured it out. The internet's actually working okay. It's my camera that's turning on and off. So we're going with the crappy MacBook camera for tonight. I thought I had to set up straight away. It's the only thing. Yeah. It's the only thing. Everything else is working fine. But we got a bunch of guys in the comments here. The show's not actually brought to us by Eagle Rare, even though that would be super cool because that would mean free whiskey.
Hey, if Eagle Rare wants to sponsor the Grizz 901 post-game show, we are there we're ready to go with that.
All the OGs of the show know that I've been thumping for Blanton's since it started, but they're slumping, so if they're lacking, we can get Eagle Rare in here. A little Blue Note, maybe?
I'll take some Blue Note. I'll take some Blue Note. A little local flavor.
We'll see if we can do that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to see what can happen, but we can't just say that because they're not actually sponsoring the show. But to tell you who is, Streetcars of Memphis. Streetcars of Memphis. From regular maintenance to all car modifications. You want speakers. You want wheels. They can modify it all. They also get you an oil change, full or synthetic. Do we still have the Grizz 901 discount? Is that something we still have?
Absolutely. Yeah, Grizz 901 discount is still live and ready to go.
Listen, go with that Grizz 901 discount for a $55 regular oil change, $65 full synthetic. Give them a shout out at 901scm.com or call 901-323-3332 to get scheduled, an oil change, maintenance, or customization. Give them a shout out. They've been here since the beginning of the season. They've been here the entire time with us, riding with us. And to be honest, if anyone's riding with us through this season, they deserve to get a call.
They're committed and they deserve your phone call. They deserve your business, man. Like,
absolutely.
Who doesn't need a good oil change? Coming out this winter time, who doesn't need a good oil change? Get your car ready for spring, all the pollen and dust and all that kind of stuff, man. Make sure your car's ready to go. Take it to Streetcars of Memphis and get it checked out.
And they sponsor the most important part of the show, which is the comment section. We already got Wayne coming in here. Oh, I brought up King Meeks first, Bluff City Mafia family. We can't take Bluff City Mafia. We've already discussed this, even though we do really like the name. But Wayne's mad because he had to work during the last game instead of listening to the show. Shout out to Wayno coming all the way in from Australia, hanging out with us. Heaven's Healthy. Make sure you give them a shout out as well. Great win tonight. Lots of people lighting up the chat. I know we got a win without Jaren Jackson, so Goon somewhere in the comments. So
he's absolutely here.
we'll leave that. But Grizz get the win, 97-109 against the Washington Wizards. It was a kind of miserable game, to be honest. It was not the most fun game in the world, but a win is a win at this point in the season. So, Kenny, off the top, what do you think about tonight?
Well, it was wild, man. Like I tuned into the Grizzlies game and University of Memphis Tiger game popped up out of nowhere. Like it was like that level of skill, the level of skill and talent out there looked like more like a college game than it did a an actual NBA game. It was something, bro. Like it was something. I mean, obviously, Grizzlies have a bunch of guys that are out there playing that number one haven't played a lot together, and number two are guys that aren't rotational bench guys for any NBA team. And so it's going to be interesting to see, like, you know, what they look like. And hey, man, they won. Like isn't that kind of all that matters at this point? Like I don't think there's anybody that got a ton of minutes that you're trying to develop. I think the guys that you know who are going to be on your roster did what they did. And the rest of them, I'm like, cool. You know,
we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Yeah, but listen, Grizz win, I will take it. We got another one tomorrow coming up. We're very hopeful they can repeat tomorrow, but I will take a win any day of the week. Listen, I'll be honest, I know there's some people in the chat that are not happy that resulted in a win. So it's going to be both ways, but we'll take it for tonight. Got a lot of guys. I see Playboy Danny's trying to get Trey a nickname, Ice Trey the Gang. I don't think we can take Ice Trey while Trey Young's still in the league. But encouraging stuff out of Trey Jamison tonight. I'm sure we'll talk about him a little bit. Gigi, solid tonight. Shot the Black Ninja DJ coming over here and watching it. But, man, it was a good time tonight. And I'll be honest.
Hey, can I say something real quick? I see Goon in here saying, man said OT was rough, like rough to watch, like we wasn't blowing them out. Bro, you come into this post-game show every single day and talk shit on Jaren when Jaren scores 30, 40 points a game, like dominates, and you talk about how bad he is. So get off my ass about that.
Listen, when you're up 25 at half and it
was a rough game.
Nip tuck at the end of the game.
Yeah.
It's a tough watch.
It wasn't a good watch. They won the game.
But some really good things tonight. Now, Trey Jamison, listen, the Wizards had one center, and now he plays for the Dallas Mavericks. So we can't keep that in mind. At the same time, a lot of us have been wanting Trey to perform, see if he can get himself an NBA contract. I'll take it. I'll take a good game. And listen, he had really good activity. Him, Deaky, which is the most fun name in the world to say. Deaky Duro.
He's like one of my favorite players from college ball. Like, because he played for Houston against Memphis when they had their major thing going on with the AAC, AAC runs. God, he's such a fun player to watch, man. He's just a dog in every way.
He's in it all the time. I have a player I'm going to bring up later on. Then Ty Giroux is going to make an appearance when I'm talking about it. But lots of good activity from him. Gigi, rough night shooting from three. Really solid night all around. That was like the opposite of what we've seen. You know, I feel like in the past, when Gigi hadn't been hitting his outside shot, it's been a rough go for him. Right. Tonight, he only hit 1 3. Now, he was still letting them fly the whole game. But
the man is not afraid.
Well, he found ways to impact the game, though. He was getting into the paint. He was drawing fouls. He was getting to the rim, creating for himself. That's going to be the progression for Gigi Jackson. That's really encouraging to me. Yeah. Because they need him to develop into that. If he's just a stand outside and shoot, it's going to be
ineffective. He'll be ineffective.
It's not the peak of him. So, really good to see that from him. Jake Laravia, I have nothing bad to say about for like the 7th game in a row. So, there's a plus. We'll see. I'm looking at maybe trying to get Chip Williams on the show at some point. So, I know he's a bit of a Jake truther because I'm not a Jake truther, but I do want to hear his side of the story. The really good games out of a lot of guys tonight. Was there anyone in particular that stood out to you in a good way tonight?
Trey Jamison, obviously, right? Like as I was writing down kind of my thoughts and my notes for the game, one of the things that I walked away from it going, I wanted to ask you and ask the chat, do you think we might have a backup center in Trey Jamison, or is he ready for that? Was it just a product of the Washington Wizards being absolute dog water and not having a big, or did you see things in him that would cause you to go, okay, we might have a backup center in this guy?
Little bit of both. Jury's out. I think we have seen Trey be ineffective to such an extent that it's kind of like, it's hard to say he had one really good game. At the same time, there's a lot of guys who step on an NBA floor and can't get you 2 points. And Trey Jameson got you 24 tonight. And let's be clear, the Washington Wizards have no real center. At the same time, that's their team, right? They're not really missing a bunch of players, and that's an NBA team out on the floor. Right. And he just put up 24 and 6 against them. And to be honest, he probably could have had more if there was some actual better point guard play, right? Like, there's a chance Trey gets even more than that. So jury's out, but that's the kind of performance you want to see from a guy. And hopefully it's the signs of a guy that has like actually starting to figure it out. But there's more games to play. So jury's still out for me on Trey.
For me, what I look at in players is not, I don't look at one game and say, make it or break it, like, kind of give my whole take on them by one game. But what I look for is things that are repeatable. Like, what are things that this person does on the floor that can be repeated throughout a 82 game series or 82 game season, and that could carve out a role. And you saw a lot of that with Trey today. And I think that's what's made Vince Williams such a revelation for this year, is that the things that he, like, we talked about this on the Anthony Sain show today. When he came into the league, he was largely a 3-point shooter, stood out at the key and shot a lot of threes, made some, missed a lot, that kind of stuff. But what he's turned himself into, something that's repeatable, is he's turned himself into a facilitating playmaker who plays amazing defense. And so I look at a guy like Trey and I say, okay, like, what is it that the Grizzlies need for a backup center? They need somebody who's big, somebody who can set screens. And let me tell you, bro, his screen setting I haven't watched a ton of him because he hasn't played a ton, honestly. But what I saw tonight, man, he is a really good screen setter. You can always tell someone's a good screen setter when it takes a defender like literally 2 steps to catch up to the guy, the on-ball guy they're trying to guard. And he was doing that. The guy with the ball had so much separation just because of the screens. And that's what I liked about him. And to me, it's repeatable. And so that's why I was asking that question, is I saw some things in him today that I thought were super repeatable.
Well, I'm going to bring up a comment that I think kind of fits where I'm at right now. Wayne saying, unpopular opinion, Trey is a poor man's Tillman. I think that's right for now. I think that is Trey, but Trey has a potential to be a Tillman plus with the athleticism and raw, like, athleticism talent. I think he has a chance to do that. So right now, I think that's about right. He's not what you want out of a backup center currently, but could get there.
What have we seen out of him? I'll be frank with you. I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of Grizzlies games this year.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, I mean, just got a lot going on. But what are some, like, have you seen him? Does he have anything in the post, anything in a face-up game, anything offensively that would make you kind of go,
He's got the Kareem skyhook, Kenny.
Oh, he does?
You haven't seen that?
I haven't seen the Kareem.
20% of the time, it works. Every time.
20% of the time, it works every time.
Listen, I think defensively, he's shown a lot. He's got to figure out how to defend without fouling at the NBA level. That's his number one thing on defense. But he's shown athleticism. He's shown the ability to have some bounce and a quick, actually, second bounce, which is sort of like BCS.
Right.
He can clearly rebound. The big thing for him is slowing the game down. And I really think from what we've seen from him, that's why he is on a Tillman minus right now. But I could see him in a year, 2 years being a Tillman plus. Because once that game slows down for him, I see it. Now,
doesn't that just come with reps, though, Nathan? I mean, just reps slows the game down for you. Like, he's literally a rookie, right? He's barely a rookie, right? I mean, it's
And these minutes are really scattered because of the whole two-way thing and how many
50
games you can get.
whatever.
And it's like prorated almost if you sign later. So it's super weird, but it is. It's just reps. I'm pretty confident we will see Trey get there. At the same time, I don't know that he gets there with Memphis, right? It's one of those things where it's all about the timeline. Now, if you get him for super cheap on a team-friendly deal, no one else is going to sign him to a full contract. Sure, like, why not? Like, go for it. Can't hurt. He's the type of guy you don't mind having at the end of the bench, no matter what, with some upside. At the same time, the Grizzlies are in a roster crunch. They're going to draft a guy this year, most likely, unless they can trade that pick. Yeah. I'm still skeptical they can trade the pick. But they need bigs. They're probably going to try and get another wing contributor, if I had to guess, instead of the Laravia, Zaire kind of backlog you have there. So we'll see what goes on right there. But at the same time, I just love Trey. I want him on the team. I want him on the team bad.
I do too, man. I like him too.
I want to see him on the team.
Yep.
Jury's out.
Yep.
No, jury's out on Trey.
So Trey was my guy.
Maybe.
Trey was my guy. What do you who did you see? Who did you see that impressed you tonight?
Positive Trey. Positives Trey. I mean, you can't really help it. I think we saw some really good things out of Kennard too, which I know will piss section of Grizz Twitter off. But to be honest, Kennard didn't seem like he shot very well. Still shot 50% from three. But the 8 assists and stuff, we've seen things like that I'm really excited about. So outside of that, the main thing I saw tonight was the Jamison. So I'm going to give the people what we want, which is ass, which is Santi. All right. We were going to save this for later in the show.
Pose the question you posed to me on text.
So here is what we were talking about before the show started. I said, Kenny, this game's not very fun tonight.
No.
The Grizzlies aren't very fun this year.
No.
What we can do is talk about some roster construction.
I would disagray. I think they're fun.
I think they're fun. You haven't watched much.
Well,
what
I have watched has been fun, right? Like there's some developing storylines that have been fun.
Okay. There's been fun scattered.
Yeah.
There's been fun scattered in the backyard while we've been scooping the dog crap up.
I live a dull, boring life. And so when there's a little fun scattered in, to me, it's just all over the place and I don't know what to do with it. So go ahead.
Well, let's get back to the point at hand. What I asked was, hey, bring up some guys that you have really strong opinions about, whether it's like, hey, I really like this guy. I really want to see him on the team. And also guys who you have really strong opinions about. And it's like, I think I hate this guy.
Yeah.
Santi was a consensus vote for the show this evening. It was a consensus vote. So, Kenny, I'll let you take the floor first.
What does he do? What does Santi do? Like, honestly, like I look at him out there and you say, you know, he should be fine with Jaren. They should be good together because he's a stretch four, right? Like he's got the size and he's got handles and whatnot. But to me, the part of it that I can't stand is that he is just way too cute with the ball. Like he is just that dude. He's that dude that comes out to pick up games with like the Allen Iverson sleeve on his left hand or his left arm and the one sleeve on his leg, on his cat. Like he's got the headband with the, you know, the choker around his neck, and he's got the nicest shoes possible. And then you just go, bro, you actually are terrible. Like you don't do anything. Like, and the worst part about it, he's that guy for me on this team that like I don't want him to make a shot because he's that dude that comes out and if he makes a shot, you know, about 100 more follow. Like, and that to me, I just don't see a path forward in terms of like what his because it's so crazy because like you've seen it in him. He's been a good player. He was decent during FIBA, but
wow. I'm going to bring up one thing because I do want to be fair. And I brought this up before, brought up the entire time. Sean brought it up on the last show he and I did. Santi has looked a ton better. And I think this season he's partially a product of what's around him. Like, truly, I think he's a product of, like, he's got nothing else. So he's like, might as well jack up shots. They probably told him, hey, we need you to step up with all these other guys out. And he's doing it poorly.
But he ain't making nothing. He's not making anything.
Well, but I do think it is a product a little bit of what's around him, just like with a lot of these guys. And so it's why I'm not jumping to that, hey, he can't be an NBA player. I've said that before, and he immediately became a rotation player, like top 9 player. Right. So I'll give him that. At the same time, you cannot be 7 foot tall and look like the smallest guy on the court when you're trying to crash the boards. It can't happen. And it is consistently how he plays basketball.
And look like you're hiding on the floor. Like, that's what I see. That's what I see that drives me the most crazy, is that it looks like he is the most unassuming 7-footer that's ever been, right? Like, he's the most unassuming 7-footer. And it's like, man, dude, at least use your height and your girth for something, right? Like, for
nice
something.
Word. Girth.
Girth.
Well, and that's what drives me crazy, man. And listen, shout out to Ant Guy. Appreciate you standing on what you believe. And to be clear, again, I'm not out on Santi, because I think once you get the roster back, things can look a lot different for him. Just like it can look different for Luke Kennard, Jaren, whoever you want to throw in there. I just can't stand how small he plays as a 7-footer. And listen, man, we've got a bunch of guys. I know Chris is here listening to the show today. Shout out to Chris. I know how he feels about Santi. I know there's some Santi truthers in here like Ant Guy. Let me tell you, there's guys that really don't like Santi. Nobody likes Santi less than my wife, who was a college basketball player. Cannot stand watching him play basketball. Can't stand it. Can't stand it. And it's crazy that a guy can be 7 foot tall against that Wizards team, who, again, Trey Jamison, part of why we're kind of like, hey, let's pump the brakes a little bit, is they don't have a center. And then you look at Santi's stats tonight. He's got 4 rebounds, 0 for 5 from 3, 11 points. But, dude, he's smoking layups because he's going up trying to Euro step. And I'm like, dude, just hammer it on these guys.
Just hammer. Just throw it down. What are we doing?
And you got to follow Anthony Sain's path and maximize your girth. Maximize your girth.
Like Anthony Sain does on a daily basis. Don't be like Daniel. Don't be like Daniel. Don't be like Daniel. I mean, be like Anthony, all right? Maximize your girth.
Oh, man, this is why they don't let me lead the show normally. But we're leading it tonight. Grizz win 109-97. Thanks to everyone for joining us. We're not done with Santi.
I got a hot take about Santi. And my guy Anthony's in here, and so he's going to really hate this. And he's probably going to yell at me when I see him next. I actually like what Jake offers this team more than I like what Santi offers this team. Point. Like, I like what Jake is showing me. And I said it a few days ago. Uh-oh. Why am I in here? Why am I up here on top? Uh-oh, no. What happened?
Listen, you come out with a take like that, you got to take the main stage. So we think Jake gives the team more than Santi.
I like what he offers.
Okay.
I think that again, like I said earlier, I want players on this team. That's like saying, do you like, Pabst Blue Ribbon or Natty Ice better, right? Like, one of those you have to like more than the other. They're both ass, but one of those you have to like more than the other. But for me, it's like, I look at the things that are repeatable, and I say, what Santi offers, I don't see how it helps this team become what we want them to become. Jake, probably not either, but at least he's got some things to him that we've seen over the last few games that are like, okay, maybe so. Maybe there's something there.
Well, and as Anthony said, there's something that Santi offers a team that Jake doesn't. Listen, it's the same thing as we were talking about last year. Santi was able to contribute with these other guys around him, but the truth be told, it's a 7-footer that can knock down shots is Santi's value. Here's the thing. You got to be able to actually be a 7-footer too. That's why I'm slowly but surely moving out on Santi. And again, once the guys get back and you have a full roster, maybe it looks different. Some of these guys aren't going to be around for us to be able to see. Santi might find himself in that boat.
Well, and I want to say this just to like kind of cement my point here. I agree with what D'Angelo said. I'd like to see both of them off the team. Absolutely. I agree. I'm right there with you. I would just rather see Santi off the team more than I would rather see Jake off the team at this point.
Well, I think I'm going to disagree with you there. just saying, we've seen Santi contribute on this team when they were actually trying to play for something. So I'm disagreeing with you there.
I could be totally wrong on this. Listen, honestly.
At the same time, we get Mr. Chip Williams on the show talking about Jake. He may come at me with stats after stats after stats.
Yeah.
And the way Jake's looked lately, listen, I do want to give a shout out to Jake one more time, just because every game I come in here and I say Jake helped in any way and he did not actively hurt you on the floor is leaps and bounds better than where we were at the beginning of the season. And again, I was on the show talking about how I turned the TV off while Jake was in the game and followed on the app. And now I'm like, dude, get Santi out there and put Jake on the floor. Get Jordan Goodwin out there, put Jake on the floor.
Crazy and it's like, now I mentioned Santi.
Save it.
That question.
Save it. We come back. Okay. We're going to probably lay off of Santi. I think we've gotten our point across. And listen, just to wrap that up, I do think Santi is an NBA player. I think he's going to be fine. I think he could look a lot better if he had actual NBA players around him, truly. At the same time, if your value is a 7-footer that shoots threes, you got to be able to actually play like a 7-footer. And he hadn't done that at all lately. So after this, we're going to come back. We're going to hit on some of these other guys. We're going to talk about maybe a Jordan Gooden. We're going to talk about some other guys who I think we'll leave Jake LaRavia out of it. But we got some good. We got some bad. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
What do you think is more of a priority for this team? Because you're starting to hear a lot of rumors coming out about teams that are willing to make trades. I'm a big wing guy. This is Memphis. We barbecue in Wing City. So I also understand the importance of big men. The best players in the league are all bigs.
If you're making a player in a lab, absolutely you want to build a Paul George player. You want to build the big wing, Kevin Durant, whatever. Like
Gigi Jackson.
Yeah, or Gigi Jackson, which actually I was thinking about, what about Gigi, Anthony? Right. But unfortunately, those guys aren't out there. And like, even when you start naming specific names of guys you want to get, like the quality drop off goes down quick. I do think the Grizzlies' easiest avenue to immediately improving next year and getting on the cusp of like being, like a Western Conference finalist, or maybe if you get all the great breaks going your way, is improving your center spot. But there's just more of those guys I feel like available to help you out.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the show, and I see us in the comments craving some Grizzlies trivia.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Daniel's actually right for once. I'm not smart enough to do Grizz trivia. I'm only smart enough to win Grizz trivia. Exactly. So Daniel's scared. That's why he's not on the show tonight. He actually told me I need a break from you just smoking me in Grizz trivia. That's why we're out here. But speaking of smoking, Heaven's Healthy Kitchen is getting a pop-up in the city of Memphis. Heaven's Healthy Kitchen brings a lot of healthy options to the table. Chef Smith, big fan of the show, also a sponsor of the show. But they actually have a pop-up at March 31st. Let me see where it is. Where's the Heaven's Healthy Kitchen pop-up? Oh, it's not on here. We're doing a Heaven's Healthy pop-up. Chef Smith, if you're still on the show, let me know where it's going to be. But check out the link tree. Daniel's got a comment for us here. Be able to take out the actual cookbook. But Heaven's Healthy Kitchen pop-up March 31st, 12 p.m. until, and I do have it, 2874 Sim Street. And give them a call at 901-729-9505. Chef Smith at yahoo.com. But they're going to have the chicken savior sandwich, some potato wedges, a vegan oxtail plate.
Let's go. Ooh.
Vegan oxtail plate.
Oh, my God.
Check it out. There we go. There it is, the address, so you can actually pull it up. 2874 Sim Street. Red beans and rice plate, which gets back to my Cajun roots. A lot of people don't know I'm from Louisiana. My family's from Louisiana. Love that. Then you got some alkaline lemonade with chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll.
Okay, Chef Smith, I got to get you in the comments. Let me know about that. Because I'm like, that grows plants. That's what I'm sitting there in my head. I'm like, that grows plants. But seriously, give them a shout. Heaven's Healthy Kitchen. Check out their cookbook. Check out that pop-up. Again, March 31st, 2024, 12 p.m. until they run out. Give them a shout out. Man, that's going to be really good. It makes me wish I was in Memphis. A lot of things make me wish I was in Memphis.
I gotta pull up, man. I've been on No Love Handles 2024, and I got to pull up on Chef Smith and see. I used to actually live over by Sims Road or Sims Street, so that's up in my old neighborhood, man. I got to get over there and hang out with Chef Smith. That oxtail sounds amazing.
Well, listen, check them out just online. Listen, they've got a ton of good stuff they can ship to you. Chef Smith, Memphis born and raised. Got to check them out. It's some really good stuff. If you didn't see before, Daniel tried like 7 different things on the show.
Oh, God. I was jealous.
And you should have seen him when he was trying it after the show. My man was going to town. Absolutely going to town. But give him a shout out. Heaven's Healthy Kitchen, pop up March 31st. Give him a look-see. Kenny, we're going to act like we didn't ask that question early on. Strong opinions. There we go. Thank you. I didn't know if he was still in here to actually give me so we don't get chlorophyll in our bodies. So the shot of chlorophyll is great for energy. Okay, well, let me tell you what I need after moving and doing this show. I need some.
You need some chlorophyll. You need some
chlorophyll in it. So thanks for letting us know. I wasn't sure what chlorophyll actually did for humans. So that's good to know. You learn something new every day here on the Grizz 901 post-game show. But trying to get myself back on the rails because the ADD is going absolutely wild today.
Sorry.
Kenny,
I'm not helping the matters at all.
Well, listen, you're just as ADD as I am. The only one more ADD than us is probably Sean. So that's okay. But some guys we have some strong opinions about. Santi, we already hit on. And again, I feel strongly about it in the moment. I don't know if my true opinion of him is super strong, but we're jury's out on that. We can bring some other guys here, and I want to talk about a couple of positive ones outside of tonight. Like, obviously, the Trey Jamison night was awesome tonight. We saw some good stuff out of Luke Kennard. Generally speaking, out of the guys on the roster, other than some obvious ones like a Gigi Jackson, who's somebody that you've got some strong positives feelings for, or just, hey, I'm actually leaning towards this guy being something we should look at?
I know that Chris and I had a major beef in the Bloodline group chat about this. I really like Lamar Stevens' game. I really like his game. Yeah. I wonder.
Okay. I'm just curious as to what the beef was now.
Oh,
because I know Chris likes Lamar Stevens.
The beef was that he was trying to figure out a way to get Luke Kennard off the Grizzlies so that the Grizzlies could sign Lamar Stevens. And I'm like, bro, you're talking about a guy who's going to make like $1 million next year. Like none of that. But I actually think, in terms of he's the kind of player that the Grizzlies need on the end of their bench, right? Like a guy that can come in and really do it all. You're not relying on him to do anything other than, man, whatever he gives you is just butter. And I would rather have a guy like him who can defend, 1 through 4 quite easily. He can handle the ball and he can shoot and he can get to the basket and he's big. Like, I like his game. He's a smart basketball player. I like his game a lot.
Well, and he's the one guy that is just like if you haven't decided you like Lamar Stevens and want him on the team after this, then I'm not sure what you're watching. He just clearly can contribute on any team. And that's not necessarily saying he is a full rotation guy all the time. Like when this team gets healthy, those wing minutes are going to dry up so fast. It's going to be crazy. 100%. But there's the same reason a lot of teams had interest in Conchar and a lot of teams had interest in Tillman. You get guys who you can put in and they're going to contribute.
They're not going to hurt. They're going to be. They'll never be a net negative. They will either be a net neutral or a net positive for you, and that is exactly what you look for on your end of the bench, end of the roster kind of guys.
100%. And Lamar Stevens is a guy who, if you put him into the game, and let me tell you, look what he's been doing, surrounded by Jordan Goodwin and Jake LaRavia and Santi Aldama. Now imagine that being John Morant and Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart, right? Like, it is just crazy. He's able to contribute and he doesn't have to do anything. He just gets to be the active guy who gets those backdoor cuts, who's able to get the steals and play crazy defense and get a breakaway fast break. Like, it's just his game, which is already looking really great, would be pushed even further. So I couldn't agree more on that. My guy who I have a really good feeling about is Jaren Jackson. No, we're not going to do anything too easy on that. I'm a big fan of first impressions. They can be really misleading, but I think there's some intangibles that aren't misleading. I'm going to give it to Ty Jerome, man. I saw this comment in here just a second ago. Somebody was talking about how Deaky needs to be. There we go. D'Angelo Hall. I saw some people that were kind of stopping for Jordan Goodwin. And I don't think Jordan Goodwin sucks, but man, I'm like, no, like he does nothing. Bro. He does nothing for me on that. And listen, Jordan Goodwin had 12 rebounds, 7 assists tonight, but it was the most unimpressive 12 rebounds and 7 assists, right? It's just kind of like he's out there. Deaky is going to be a little bit of a different contributor than the Lamar Stevens. I'm not saying you put Deaky in. He just does his job, and he's always a net positive. He could absolutely be a net negative for you trying to do too much. At the same time, dude always has his nose in it.
I don't know, though. Active. I've seen him. I watched him a lot in college when he played for Houston, because obviously covering the University of Memphis, you saw a lot of the matchups between Memphis and Houston, and Giroux was a part of that. And let me tell you, bro, like that man he is the kind of guy that is he going to wow you with very specific things that he does? Maybe not. But let me tell you what happens with him when you see him out there playing is that when he's got the ball or he's on the floor, the team plays better. Good things happen. And that's what I love. He is the kind of guy that his energy level and the dog mentality that he has tends to raise all the levels out there in terms of what they're trying to do. And so, I completely agree. He's just an impressive looking dude. And again, I think Jordan Goodwin's fine, but man, I absolutely think Deaky is that dude.
Well, and I'm going to bring up Chef Smith's comment here. We do need to see him play more. Again,
100%. Yeah.
First impressions can be misleading. That's why I sort of led with that. At the same time, man, when you're that active on the floor, like what have we seen him do that he can't do every night?
100%.
That's why I come in with the activity. Now,
100%.
Of course, Daniel, per usual, is jumping the gun, just trying to stir something up. I'm not going to say we should put him on the floor next to Ja Morant and amazing things will happen. But
why is he not on the show?
I thought he was in the mountain with his family. And here he is, just hopping into the show. I don't know what he's talking
about. Come on the show, Daniel.
But seen from Deaky, he's just always in the mix. He's hit a couple of shots, he's had a couple of nice moves, but like tonight, he had a really nice move, smoked the layup at the end. And I'm still super happy about the guy being here just because it's not that. He's always active. And when you looked at the second half tonight, the Grizzlies' energy was way off in the second half. It was completely flipped from that first half. Guess who barely saw the floor in the second half?
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
There
are guys that are energy changers when they're out on the floor. And he is one of those guys. Guess who else is one of those guys? And I know we love to throw this out there. We've done it all year with Vince Williams. But Tony Allen was the same way. Like, do you think Grizzlies fans ever really got mad at Tony for smoking layups? Nah, bro. They were talking about the fact that he ripped Klay Thompson on the other end of that he was ripping Klay Thompson at the other end of the floor and just laughed at him when he smoked layups, right? Like, it's just par for the course. It's just the Tony Allen experience.
It was one of those where he would go, he smoked a layup and he'd go, oh, okay. That's it.
Right. You're like, okay, whatever. First team all defense, baby. No. Well, but that's the level of energy I see out of Deaky. You know, it is him being able to do stuff like that.
Well, and it created offense. Like, to be clear, that extra energy creates space on the floor for people to operate. It creates chaos and it creates offense. So maybe he's not the solid handler. He's a guy who's just going to have really good ball control. He's going to make sure you don't turn the ball over, ball security, I should say. At the same time, he's able to play point guard for you a little bit tonight, and he's out there creating chaos in the offense, which clearly is what the Grizzlies needed, because in the second half, they scored, 40-ish points after scoring 60 in the first half.
Terrible. That's
So
terrible.
Really need it. And then I want to give a shout out to our guy Allen because he comes in here. I already know what he's talking about. The Grizzlies won, so the pain is deep.
I know. He doesn't. He's team total tank. He's like team full on tank.
And mad respect. He's been that way since they were like 6-19. He has never wavered in his commitment to the tank. So shout out to Allen. Appreciate you.
Well, it's a shout out. It's not only a shout out to the commitment to the tank, but also a shout out to the homage of Tony Allen, right? Pain running deeper than the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with it, man. I'm with it.
Exactly. But
I have another player.
Guy who I'm in on like,
oh, I'm sorry.
We'll see. But I am I'm leaning towards being really happy with it. All that to say, just as a disclaimer, half these guys are not going to be on the team next year.
That's the point.
We're just talking about what we like. Like, if you expect, I'm not sitting here saying Diggy Jerome needs to be a Memphis Grizzly.
He probably won't be a Memphis Grizzly, and that's okay.
He probably won't be a Memphis Grizzly. He may not be an NBA team player. And that's fine. There's juries out on a lot of that. There's only one guy who I think is like that other than the obvious GG and Vince. That's Lamar. Lamar's the only guy I'm like, man, this guy's got to be a Memphis Grizzly. But dare I ask, is there anyone besides who we talked about earlier that you're like, nah, man, I'm done?
Yeah, I got one. Well, I got two. First off, on this show in particular, Daniel Greer. Did you see what this man did in the comments just a second ago?
Oh, yeah, I saw. I didn't bring it up for a reason. I don't know why he's not hanging out with his family.
If he's doing what he's saying he's doing, he don't need to be on the computer.
Not a family man.
Not a family environment situation. That's a run to the hills kind of a situation. But that's just a disgraceful just bringing down the integrity of this chat.
No place for it.
I'm saying in this show. Just no place for it.
No place for it.
So Daniel, I'm out on, honestly. I think this needs to become the Nathan Qual show, honestly. That's what we're doing here. But the second player that I am totally out on.
Okay.
It's Jordan Poole. Bro.
I had no idea where you were taking that, but you took it to the perfect place.
Bro, Jordan Poole.
What was his stat line tonight?
Bro, he what are we talking about? He played 27 minutes. He scored 10 points. He's 4 of 11, 2 of 6 from the field, -2 overall, and he made he's making $34 million a year. Is he is terrible.
That's the worst. He has overtaken Davis Bertans for the worst contract in the NBA.
By far.
By a lot.
Like Jordan Poole, I got nothing for you, man. That dude is trash. It's got,
in my mind, it's a Draymond thing. When I look at a why, I'm like, dude, he just has not mentally bounced back because he was not this, man, when he was with the Warriors.
But he didn't have to be the guy. He never had to be the guy.
He's clearly not the guy now.
Well, 1,000%. They're paying him like he's the guy. Dude, I feel bad for Tyus. Honestly, I felt bad for Tyus today. It broke my heart. I love Tyus. It broke my heart to see Tyus out there with bum-ass Jordan Poole,
dude,
doing whatever he was doing.
Well, and it's just crazy that he's getting paid that much money to come off the bench and then give you that off the bench. And I mean, it's honestly one of those things.
Nate, off the bench.
I'm not a Jordan Poole guy. I've never liked Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
Never been a fan. It has got me to the point I genuinely go, oh, man. I'm like, it's almost like I live in Utah now, but the Southern, oh, honey.
Yeah. The Southern roots come out in you.
Oh, sweetie.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
Oh, yeah. Sugar. No, it's brutal, dude. And I tell you what really solidified it for me tonight, because we've seen all the Jordan Poole moments this year on like the Shaq and the Fools, not top 10 type stuff.
Right.
Dude, when he had the miss a three, rebound came straight back to him in the same exact spot, put it back up, and I didn't just miss it, clanked it. I was like, he ain't got it, man.
It's over, man. It's over.
He ain't got it. It's crazy.
I mean, they're paying him. What his contract was? What? How many years was his contract? Let me look.
Was it 5?
was it 5 year, like 180 million? Jordan
Too
Poole
much.
contract.
Tell you what it was too much.
4
Way
year,
too
100.
much.
4 year, no. With the Golden State Warriors. Okay, so it's a 4 year, 128. 4 year, 128.
Well, and it's again, Davis Bertans, I thought had an unbeatable bad contract. Jordan Poole has defeated that and then some. But I want to hear your second guy because I'm interested to see if it's the same guy I have in mind. So go for it.
Well, my first guy was Daniel Greer. My second guy is Jordan Poole. So I have nobody else.
That was the second guy.
Yeah,
My
that
bad.
was my second guy. You're good. Who's your guy?
Dude, get this Denby Avdia out of my mention. I don't want to hear about this dude anymore. When he fell down for the third time under the basket, I was like, dude.
When Trey put that shoulder, when he put that meat hook on top of him.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm notorious for this. Again, I probably put too much emphasis on winning versus losing over your career in the NBA. It's why it's like Kyle Kuzma, he's won a ring. But I'm like, he's been in Washington too long, and I don't want anything Washington has touched. Just like tomorrow night, we're going to have another riveting game against the Charlotte Hornets. Dog, Nick Richards is slowly getting there. He's been in Charlotte. I don't like it. And so
me and you were on the exact same page with that.
Same reason I think Marcus Smart is an important type of guy to have on the team. I think it's important to not have guys like that on the team, right? And so there's a certain point where it's probably not fair. Like they got Daniel Gafford out of there, and then he's been a contributor for the Mavericks. I've actually liked a lot what I've seen from him. So it's not always the case, but I'm like, you can build losing habits, and I'm not convinced it's not there. When you fall 3 times under the basket instead of trying to defend and you don't get the call once and keep doing it,
I'm out.
Give me Corey Kispert. He hadn't been there long enough.
Because how do you say his last name? Advia. Wasn't he? Isn't he kind of like one of the hot guys on the potential trade market? Like, weren't people talking about him? Like, even the Grizzlies were talking. Like, weren't Grizzlies fans wanting to get him over with the Grizzlies?
Well, the prototype is right. The prototype fits. It's the same thing as like a Kyle Kuzma. The prototype fits. That doesn't mean he actually fits. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, he is, let me see. He's 6'9", can shoot, seems to be able to rebound well, have good activity. At the same time, I'm like, when I watch you play, I don't get the vibe that you're going to change. You're going to move the needle for this organization.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I see the stats and I see the game. And they don't tell me the same thing.
No.
And so, yeah, and again, I am fully aware. I probably put too much emphasis on this, but man, after you have so much time to build losing habits, I'm like, I'm good. And to bring up a perfectly timed comment from Ryan Meadows, what's the difference? The difference is Santi is bigger.
Yeah, he's a 7-footer.
Other than that, in my opinion, they played pretty much the same. So that's where I was going. I was very interested to see where you were taking that. When you said 2 guys, I was like, I don't know how you're pulling 2 out of this. But the Daniel thing, thank God Daniel went to bed. We can get back to being a family show. But
yeah, this is not a rated R show, Daniel Greer.
Yeah, we try really hard to not make it rated R. And trust me, we can all be rated R people. We're doing our best.
Absolutely.
To not be rated R.
Yeah. That's why the camera's from the chest up and not that. I'm just joking.
Yeah. God bless the brethren. But listen, that's about it for the show tonight. That's about all I got. Do you have anything on any of these guys, like a Kuzma or anybody else on the Grizzlies before we wrap it up? Heading to the game.
No, man. I mean, obviously, we do need to talk. It was announced today Desmond Bane might be coming back very soon, and Brandon Clarke might be back by the end of the month.
No way. See, this is what happens when you move and you have a pregnant wife. I have seen none of this. I have seen nothing for the past week and a half. I have
Desmond Bane, they announced it today pre-game that Desmond could be back within the next couple of games and that Brandon Clarke could potentially be back by the end of the month. That is not a Grizzly-esque update. That a guy can be back in a couple of games. Usually it's like a couple of months. So a couple of games. It's awesome. Anything I want to make sure I
Smart?
get this right.
Did they give an update on Smart too?
I didn't see an update on Smart.
They might decide that's done. I don't know what that finger injury is, but it seems like something that could be messed up. Desmond Bane back in a couple of games. That's a godsend for them.
100%.
And I think what it will allow them to do with the timing,
would you play him?
BC,
You'd play him, right?
Yeah. Yes. You either had to play him or bench Jaren. And then you're just like, you're fully in on the tank.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So if that's the case, they're going to bring him back. And I think they try and win. I think you brought him back in and you try and win basketball games. You're not going to – he's going to come in on a minutes restriction. They're not going to push him past that or anything like that and go all in on wins.
Right,
what they will do is try and play winning basketball and teach some of these young guys like Gigi, Vince, these guys, get them back into a role that they're meant to be in.
Yeah.
Let them get some game reps with that before you head into next season.
Which is why I've been saying this entire time. I know there's a lot of folks on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it that have been saying, talking about Gigi not starting. And I'm like, why? Like this season means nothing. So why would you put him in a position that he's not going to be for the next couple of years? Like he's not going to be a starter for the Grizzlies. So why would you put him? Why would you get him game reps at starter level minutes with starter players? Like let him figure out his rhythm coming off the bench, getting, playing with the guys that he's playing with. Why would you, put him in a situation like that? And I feel the same way about playing Desmond and playing Brandon. Man, let's utilize this time period, these next however many games that are left in the season, to just get these guys some game reps and look at the roster like it's just a little bit more normal than what it has been, right? Like just guys that will get some playing time.
Exactly. And again, winning matters and how you play matters. Even if you're losing, how you lose matters, which is why I've never been all in on the tank like our faithful Allen. Can't do it because I think trying to play winning basketball matters as you build habits. Yeah. And that goes hand in hand with you've got a guy who is just an elite scorer, was on an all-star trajectory before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And Brandon Clarke, who is a 6-man of the year caliber player, depending on how much of his athleticism he has. When he comes back, we anticipate it'll be most of it.
Yeah.
So having those guys in there is super, super helpful for these young guys. Again, for these guys, I don't really care if they get game reps in the rest of the season. I think it's matter. Fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. I don't really care. What matters to me is the guys who have been out there grinding for months, getting beat because they just don't have the horses to compete.
Yeah.
Getting these reinforcements in and being able to, one, see what it's like to play basketball with those caliber of players, but two, actually get to enjoy probably winning some more basketball games and see like, hey, this is what we're actually trying to get to, as opposed to what you've been doing. So that's great to see. It's great to see. I did not know that was going to be a thing, so I'm excited about it. Again, I haven't seen anything on Grizzlies Twitter for like 2 weeks, so that's super exciting to see. But all right, we're going to go to a super quick break, and we're going to preview the second of a back-to-back of just riveting opponents against the Charlotte Hornets. We'll be back here in just a second.
Yeah, because Zach Randolph went into the Blazers organization that had some characters. Underline the word characters, okay? He's coming from Michigan State. He's from Marion, Indiana. And then you go to Portland, Oregon, which it's an entirely different culture, entirely different demographic. He had people around him who were guys from Marion. Hey, you owe us. Anthony, one of the key memories of my time here in Memphis off the court, I did a Read to Achieve event with Zach Randolph. And the kid who read the most books, his prize was to get to interview Zach Randolph. And the young man, first question to Zach is, what's the hardest thing for a black athlete to learn? And Zach did not give him any, like BS fluff answer. He said, a lot of times the people who say they're your friends, they're not your friends. And you have to pick the people around you very, very wisely.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Grizz 901 postgame show. I am your temporary, at least for now, host. I'm not sure. Daniel might get himself canceled.
We're about to make an executive decision and make you the permanent.
Yeah, that might be the new thing coming. But we were able to fix the lighting, at least in front of me. We'll treat the camera fixed, and we're just moving. I barely even know where I am. I couldn't tell you my address. So the fact we're even having a show is a small miracle. But now the Grizzlies came off this win against the Washington Wizards, the highly regarded Washington Wizards, and they get up next the Charlotte Hornets. You know, Kenny, we may have talked about this last time we did a show together, but me and Daniel talk about this a lot. It's really a healthy reminder to have 2 games back to back when you're playing teams that have worse records than you and they have their actual teams playing. It could always be worse, Grizz fans.
Oh my God.
It could always be way, way worse. So coming back here, but first, I have a bad transition. Pews! Residential lawn spray. We are not kings of the transition tonight. That's what happens when Nate is doing all the ad reads. You know Pews, from flower shops to commercial landscape maintenance. Pews has been around for 30 plus years servicing the Mid-South. But did you know that Pews also does residential lawn care? Pews residential spray can take care of all your weed control and fertilization needs. And if you want to create that perfect weed-free lawn, then call Pews Residential Spray today for a free estimate. 901-633-2118 and let them know that the Grizz 901 crew sent you. And remember, with Pews, you get big company strength, small company values. The Grizzlies will be taking on the Charlotte Hornets again at home tomorrow night. The Hornets coming off a 17-point loss to the Detroit Pistons and lost to this Wizards team barely, not even a week ago. So we'll see. The Hornets did spank the Grizzlies last time they played, but hopefully the Grizzlies get a few players back. Kenny, do you think we'll see Vince Williams, Jaren back tomorrow night, or do you think they're out for the back-to-back?
That's interesting. Is it both soreness things that they're being held out for right now?
I'll look it up again. I think it was like quadriceps soreness for Jaren, patellar soreness for Vince. Let me double check.
I don't like anything that ever has anything to do with patellar. I'll be frank with you on that. Like
that's one I didn't like.
That I don't like that.
Ooh, Jaren has right quad tendonitis.
Yeah.
If those are legitimate, I'm going to say they're out.
I'm going to say they're out too. If those are legitimate. Now,
also, not to interrupt, I do have to bring this up simply because of the name. Yes, Daddy Chill, the game is over.
He said, oh, never mind.
It's an amazing name. And he says Daddy Chill.
Daddy
I was like, what the hell even is that? That's all I can think of when I see that. So shout out to Daddy Chill. Shout out to everyone joining us in. You are earning your fandom cards by paying attention to the Grizzlies this season. But it's tendonitis for Jaren, right quad tendonitis, which is a confusing injury, and then left patellar tendon soreness for Vince.
I'm not a big fan of anything that has to do with patellar. I've had patellar injuries in my lifetime. It's not fun. If they can play, if it is soreness, whatever, like that's fine. Like bring them back and let them play. Obviously, you're not going to play them on a back-to-back. So maybe they do. If it's just soreness, maybe they do bring them back for tomorrow night's game and keep them out for this game, obviously. But I wouldn't mind seeing him. I'd like to see him. Maybe you bring back Jaren. Maybe Des makes a return tomorrow night. That would be a blast.
Well, hold on. I'm going to go find this. I got to find the Des report. In the meantime, the one thing I did like seeing was that Scottie Pippen Jr. had been upgraded to doubtful from out. One, I think you and I both have talked about this. We both had some back injuries. I'm not sure if that was you. Dude, the back stuff is freaky, man, and it sticks with you. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. It's terrible. So him having that, especially with how he was playing, like we talk about Deaky, Jordan Goodwin, these other guys, Scottie Pippen Jr. looked like he was on his way to earning an NBA contract.
Absolutely. When
he went down. So I hope that we get to see him back on the court, and I hope that we get to see him play the rest of the year because I would love to see that for him. But as far as those guys go, I really thought, hey, they'll sit them out, but then these other guys will come in and play like Vince and Jaren. But when I see tendonitis and patellar soreness, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that. That's bait. For anyone that's wondering what I'm talking about, there's a comment that is bait. I'm not looking at that. But I'm gonna say if we see tendonitis and patellar soreness, they're gonna lean towards caution. That's telling me that even if it's a fake injury, they're not playing tomorrow night, in my opinion.
So, I wouldn't mess with anything patellar. If it's got even a slightest bit sore, you definitely play cautious with that. But
Well, especially when you look at the line for tomorrow night, Hornets. Well, it's Hornets 1.5, so it's kind of a toss-up. That line's sort of a toss-up. Let's see. ESPN has Grizzlies winning. It's a toss-up tomorrow night.
there are teams in the NBA that I just want to see the Grizzlies just hammer every time they play them. Most of them are good teams, right? Like, I want to see them beat the brakes off the Clippers every time they play them. For some reason, it's just the grit and grind era hatred of the Clippers in it. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I want to see them beat Dallas every time they play Dallas, because I just think I know Luka's good. I know he's got an awesome game. But if he has taken the place, hot take, get ready, chat. He has taken the place for me of the most unenjoyable superstar to watch away from Vince Carter for me. Like,
Wait. You didn't like watching Vince Carter play basketball?
The most overrated, unenjoyable superstar I've ever seen play in NBA ever, by far, not even close. Hot take, I know. But in terms of like the really bad teams, it doesn't bother me when they play them. Like, if they lose to them, I don't care. I want them to beat Charlotte every time they play them. I want them to embarrass Charlotte. I want them to go. I want Michael Jordan, after the Memphis Grizzlies get done playing them, to question whether or not he wants to own the team anymore. Like, that's how I feel. I feel so deeply about the Charlotte Hornets.
Is it because of one, Chris Paul being an ex-Charlotte player, or is it two, they are just like the most punchable team?
The most punchable ass team in the entire league.
And I'm not even talking about players. I'm just talking about, when I hear Charlotte Hornets, I just think of like a fly swatter.
Just want to be like, get the hell off me, man. Yeah.
I think it's one of those where the LaMelo talk got a little bit of extra oomph for Grizzlies fans. And listen, the Miles Bridges thing, like, it's its own thing.
It's his own thing.
Like, it's just crazy for a lot of different reasons, but helps make them unlikable. And I feel like every player that comes there somehow ends up being 10 times less likable than they were in college too.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
And a lot of these guys aren't very likable in college. So it's just what it is. Yeah. I'm with you on that. I do want to be it. And I mean, the Grizzlies, as well as they fought this year, as well as they've pushed throughout all these games, they got smacked by the Hornets the last time they played them. So I do want to see them try and carry through and actually get a little bit of revenge for that. But I'll be honest, like, not having Vince, not having Jaren back-to-back, doesn't look like any reinforcements are coming. I think it's a bit of a tall task. And we've said this every game.
Yeah.
A lot of this. The Grizzlies should be underdogs against literally every team in the NBA. Because we talk about, they're playing the Trailblazers, basically a G League team. No, the Grizzlies
are a legit G League
team. They got
we're talking about Deke Giroux for like 30 minutes today. Like, let's keep it. Let's take some perspective here, right?
Listen, when like the bright spot is Deke Giroux, this is the way. This is not the way. There you go. For all my Star Wars fans out there, this is not the way.
There you go.
But listen, if they come with that activity and they have that fight in them, I think there's always a chance. That being said, the Hornets, even with their current state of the roster, even without LaMelo, still have more talent than the Grizzlies on the floor tomorrow night.
We have an Inception type comment here. The Grizzlies are underdogs versus the hustle. King Meeks is on one tonight, bro.
Listen, King Meeks will bring us some like Socrates level comments, and then also bring us things about Larsa Pippen. So
about Larsa Pippen and like
that is why King Meeks is part of our beloved family here in the
third eye
section.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah, third eye. Listen, he'll turn that into something kinky too. And thank God Daniel's gone to bed before he does it with his lack of girth. But listen, tomorrow night against the Hornets, I don't know what to expect. We'll be back here doing another show. Hopefully my camera's working by then. I'll try and get some kind of decor up in the background. I have to find what kind of box it's in. Well, I want to be pretty. I wanted to be pretty for you, but I couldn't pull it off. But we'll see what we can get. Either way, These games typically have at least fun moments.
Yes.
As brutal as they can be, even tonight, the Deke Giroux moments, Gigi, even Laravia had some fun moments. Hopefully we at least get some of those, and they can actually pull out another win against a team that is at some point beatable.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. Is there anything in particular you're looking for, or are you ready to wrap this Jun up? We've been here for an hour. I didn't expect us to make it 45
Let's wrap
minutes.
this thing up. You know me, I can talk for a while. Let's spare the listeners, the viewers there, me just rambling on about what God knows what. So.
Listen, you and me both go forever. We just should have brought Sean on. That would be an absolute debacle. You, me, and Sean, we all are happy to interrupt each other. We're all super ADD.
Yeah,
It'd be a really fun time. Listen,
Squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. Squirrel. I'm like looking out my window blinds. I'm like, I bet there's something out there.
Yeah.
Which I have windows, which is super dope. Didn't necessarily have many of those in the old digs, but shout out to everybody coming out to join us tonight. Shout out to King Meeks bringing me up in a Dune 3 reference. Listen, Dune, by the way, awesome movie. If you haven't,
is it
seen
good? I haven't seen it,
dude. Yes, unbelievable. I've seen it twice already.
Oh wow,
yeah,
wow,
real good.
Okay.
But listen, can't thank everybody enough for coming out here. The comments is what makes this show go, especially on like a season like this. Like we say it time after time. We can't say it enough. Like you guys are becoming family to us, and that's why we like to come on here and do what we do. In a season where the Grizzlies are 20 games under 500, and John Morant's played like 8 games. So shout out to everybody. We will be back tomorrow.
At least
night.
At least we're not the Wizards.
At least we're not the Wizards. At least we're not the Hornets. There's a lot of teams. At least we're not them.
Yeah.
But we'll be back tomorrow night. Kenny's not going to be here. We're going to have a special guest from the No Bluffing podcast join the show. We might bring another secret guest as well. We'll see if we can swing that. But Kenny, thanks for hopping on, man. Can't thank you enough for hopping on when Daniel abandoned us to go be naked in his bed.
Oh God. Oh Lord.
Poor images. Bad images. Bad images. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Come back out tomorrow night. We're going to have fun in here, no matter if we have fun watching the game or not. And until tomorrow night, be nice. Tell your friends.